Bambi, come here. Bambi, no, come here. Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Madison Monteze podcast. This is Bambi. She looks grumpier than she actually is. And I'm Madison. And this is where I share my knitting and spinning and weaving and anything fiber related really with you. Thank you so much for watching today. And you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Madison Monteze. And everything that I talk about will be in the description box below. I will put links to my Ravelry project pages and anything else that I talk about and can link, I will do so below. Today's episode will start off with a knitting update. I have some finished objects and whips to show, and then I wanted to share a little bit of a recap of going to Maryland Sheep and Wool. It was my first time going to Maryland Sheep and Wool and had a lot of fun. It was now 2 weekends ago, and I got some things that I'm really excited about, so I want to show those off. I tried to take some little video clips throughout the weekend, so I will kind of compile those at the end to share. And yeah, so and also, this is not a hand knit, this sweater. It's, today's Monday, so I was just needing some like comfy clothes. So I'm actually wearing the Maryland Sheep and Wool t-shirt that I got. Has this cute dog and sheep on it. And then this is a vintage sweater that my mom found for me. But I think it's acrylic yarn. I can't remember exactly, it says on the tag, but it is well loved and like very old and looks aged. So don't look too closely at it. I want to one day do a hand knit version of this sweater for myself. Yeah, there's like a huge stain right there. Okay. Anyway, and if I'm looking down, it's because I have my notes with me, so I don't forget anything. So for context, when I filmed my last podcast episode, I was days away from leaving for like a 3-week long travel excursion, what felt like a cross-country trip. I was in the Midwest for a little bit visiting my family, and then I met up with my boyfriend on the West Coast to visit his family and some of our friends out there. So there was a lot of traveling being done and a lot of knitting time, which was fabulous. I feel like I have more finished things than I usually do. I have 3 finished objects that I'm going to show. The first 2 are socks, and if you are new here, the TLDR is that I'm trying to knit a pair of socks every month of this year, and so far I've been able to stay on track. So yeah, these are my March socks, and they are pretty cute. I'll try to put in some photos. I feel like the lighting of this setup isn't maybe amazing, but c'est la vie. C'est la vie. And this pattern, I talked about these socks quite a bit in my last podcast. If you're interested for more details, I would recommend checking that out. So I won't talk too much about it, but these are the Prairie socks by K. Jones. I knit them on my usual US 1 size needle, magic loop, 64 stitches. The yarn is Ballyhura Fibers from Ireland. It was a sock set, so both these contrast colors came with it. And I think that's it. March done. Loved that pattern. Would definitely knit again. So that's March. April is here. These, I started and finished these between the last podcast episode, and they were just really simple, and they got really boring to knit. They got really boring really fast, I will tell you that much. So my hometown is Kansas City, and that's where a lot of my family still lives. So that's where I was during my Midwest portion of my trip, and it's not that far. Kansas City isn't too far from Yarn Barn, which is in Lawrence, Kansas, and Yarn Barn is amazing. I will say their knitting yarn selection isn't necessarily like my favorite out of like all of the yarn stores in the world, but they have an insane weaving yarn selection, and it's so good. So long story short, I went to Yarn Barn to look at some weaving yarn, and then while I was there, I was like, maybe I'll just pick up some sock yarn because I had finished my March socks and my travels were going to go into the first couple weeks of April, and I knew that I would probably want something small to have to knit on as I'm like moving around a bunch. So I picked up the gray and the blue from Yarn Barn, and it's just jaw wool, or the Lang Yarns jaw wool sock yarn. I actually ran out of some of the gray, so I ran out of the gray at the end, so I had to find a little mini in my stash to complete it. And then I was just feeling like a simple sock, you know, kind of like a shorty, stripes for some interest, but it did not add enough interest to make me obsessed with knitting these. It's a 3x1 rib, and I did a heel flap and gusset. And yeah, I like the end product, but they were honestly so boring to knit. I know I've said that now multiple times, but it really took a lot of like self-motivation to make myself finish these, because I was just like, I do not want to knit gray socks, but I did it. So these are my April socks, and I was feeling like I needed a little break from socks, so I haven't casted on my May socks yet, but I'm still deciding on like what I want to do. I'm thinking either possibly doing some hand knit socks, or Summer Lee's new Maisie sock pattern, which is color work, and they're really cute. So we'll see. I feel like it's gonna be one of those. I did have a lot of gray knits for March or April. What month was that? April? We're in May. Okay. Last month, the bulk of my knitting time went to a secret test knit that I unfortunately can't share yet. I teased the yarn on my Instagram. I made a little reel of what I knit on in April. So you can check it out, the yarn there. But it was also gray, so lots of gray knits. I will be able to share it later this summer. So I will make sure, obviously, to share it here once I am allowed to do so. But I'm very excited to share it. Did anyone else like completely die from allergies this spring? I thought I had COVID. I was like, I felt so ill, and I thought it was a cold, and I don't get allergies every year, so like when I do, it always is like a surprise to me. And I literally thought I had a cold for like the longest time, and then I started taking allergy meds, and then it like actually worked. So anyway, if you had bad allergies, I feel you. This is my last FO. Let's see. And it is really cute. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Gives a little kerchief vibes. It's called the Aranami Shawl by Olgajazzy, I believe. We'll obviously have it linked below. And it is super cute. I knit this in Junction Fiber Mill. So the pattern calls for fingering weight, and I found out about this pattern from Brooklyn General Store's Instagram. They made a really cute one. I think it was like blue or green. I think it's blue with green contrast color stripes, which I'm like still trying to figure out how they did that, because I want the same exact thing. But so So I modified this to be more of like a worsted weight gauge, so I could use the junction fiber mill making tracks, which to me is like a heavy DK, almost worsted weight yarn. And it's the color changing type of yarn, very similar to like a spin cycle or a hand spun, fractal vibe. If you're not familiar with junction fiber mill, big fan, would definitely recommend checking them out. And so my mom and I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool together, and I knew that we would be seeing the junction fiber mill booth there, and I wanted to have like something little and like specifically knit for Maryland Sheep and Wool. And this was like a quick knit. I finished this in maybe 48 hours or less. Like I really hyper fixated on it for like a weekend, and then I got it done. Actually, I might just do this. Does this make me look like a little Boy Scout or something? So the nitty gritty of my modifications are, I used a US size 7 needle, and I cast it on 2/3 of the stitch count that the pattern calls for. I originally tried to cut the stitch count in half, but that was too small, and then I went ahead and cast it on the full stitch count, and that was looking way too big. So I did some math, and we did 2/3, and so the shawl is worked, sorry, the lighting, not amazed again. The shawl is worked in these little fans. So you start with this one, then you kind of go row by row all the way up. So I only did 3 rows in the pattern, and then I did the final row, which is doing this top one. It's basically like an inverse of the little fans to create the flat edge. And I am so happy with how the colors came out with this yarn. It's like the self-changing yarn. So, you never really know how it's going to look until you start knitting with it. And one, I love this colorway. It's called Valley Fog from Junction Fiber Mill. And it's just super subtle. And I really love it just kind of like changes in tone and like warmth a little bit. So yeah, really, really happy with this. And I kind of just wore it like this at Maryland Sheep and Wool, like a little bandana, it was raining for most of the day, and I like was using it as like a little head wrap to like protect my hair for a little bit. But that didn't last very long. My hair instantly gets frizzy in the rain, so I just embraced it. Last thing I will say about this is there are 1,000,001 ends to weave in when you're done with it. I'm sure someone has figured out a way to like not have this many ends to weave in at the end of this pattern, or maybe if I had been smarter, I would have weaved them in as I went. But honestly, I feel like it was just part of the process. Like I did it, and then at the end I just sat for 10 minutes and wove in all the ends, and it wasn't that bad. But that is the one thing to be aware of. Lots of ends. And yeah, I love this pattern. I want to knit it again in like a fingering or sport weight, like a bigger size that's actually more of a shawl wrap type of thing, not just a bandana. And yeah, I love this one. So this was my special Maryland Sheep and Wool piece. After this, I was like, I need to be done with the gray. I need to get some colorful knits going because life's too short. I have 3 works in progress to show, and I am literally obsessed with everything that I'm knitting right now. I'm so excited. The first whip is my Ingrid sweater. Here she is. Oh my gosh. Oh! Look at her, she's coming along. I can't remember if I've showed her on the podcast before. If I did, it was probably a long time ago because I casted this on last fall with my friend Hannah of Pages and Pearls. She finished hers ages ago. We did like a little friendship mini cal together, and she finished hers like ages ago, has been enjoying it, wore it like all winter, and I got distracted with a million other things and set mine down. But once I finished my test knit, I was like, it is time to go back to my Ingrid, and I am going to knit on her until she's done. So a couple months ago I had left off at just before joining the body together, so I'm really happy with this progress, and I'm almost done with the body chart, and then I'm hoping that the sleeves will go pretty quick. It is nice to have these little texture sections. It feels like things move along really, really quickly. And I know there's some like weirdness with the sleeve decreases, so I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to handle that yet, but I will let you know how that works out. And the yarn combo also feels so luxe. I'm so excited about it. It's Farmer's Daughter Fibers. I had bought this yarn, I had bought this yarn like years ago, because I was going to knit this sweater with my sister who she left me in the dust with her knitting. She knit hers so fast and I hadn't even cast on. So this is my yarn. Obsessed. It is, as I said, both Farmer's Daughter Fibers. It's in the same colorway, which is Dumplin'. This is the singles base. They're like fingering weight singles base, and then this is their Surrey. And oh no, I didn't say anything. Siri thought I said her name. No, I'm not talking to you. Off. Obviously, neither of these yarns are bringing any structure to the sweater, so it's already feeling very drapey but super soft. So I'm thinking this is going to end up being more of like a really fancy, luxurious sweatshirt vibe, which I'm totally down for. I am down for that. That wasn't necessarily my intention when I picked out the yarn. I think I don't know, something was drawing me to that yarn combo specifically, but it was before I had started spinning, so I didn't really know that much about like yarn structure, you know, so it worked out. It always works out in the end. I'm knitting mine on a US 5, which I think the pattern calls for a US 6, so I went down a size. And I'm knitting the size small. Yeah. She's cute. My next whip, which is in Spoiler, something that I bought at Maryland Sheep and Wool, this project bag. So cute. My next whip is also very exciting. I've teased this on my Instagram as well. You may or may not know that I purchased a Chelsea Yarns Advent this last December. It was the I Heart New York Chelsea Yarns. I had never done a mini skein holiday Advent, 24, 25 open every day type of thing. And I loved it. It was so much fun. Felt like a little treat every day. I've already pre-ordered Chelsea Yarns' Advent for this next year, this next December. It's Chelsea on the Ranch, cowboy, country themed. I can't wait. I need to start brainstorming like what I want to do. But so for this last year, I thought that I wanted to do a crochet blanket type of thing, and then I don't know. I just opened in December. I opened everything and I wanted to see all the colors before I really decided what to do with it. And I just wasn't feeling a crochet blanket. I don't know. So then I was like, well, a shawl kind of sounds like more fun to knit right now. So I was looking through Ravelry for some inspo on like Advent projects and shawls, and I don't know that I'm a huge fan of like the Advent specific patterns, if you know what I mean. So I was looking more for patterns that I could easily adapt to use in an Advent. And then I stumbled upon this person's project page for their Find Your Fade shawl, which is a pattern by Andrea and Mowry, and they used 24 mini skeins and faded all of them throughout the pattern and had amazing notes, very detailed, and I was like, this is perfect. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to run with it. And here we are. Oh my gosh. I've never faded anything before in my life in terms of like knitting projects. But it is so fun. It just looks like it all melts together. And I can't wait. So I think I'm only on day 7, maybe. Yes, I'm on day 7. Look at this. This color is so fun. Like, oh, so fun. And there's so many fun colors in this Advent specifically. I'm like, I can't wait to knit through it. So this has been like a really fun knit that I've only been wanting to work on this. 'Cause it's so fun. So I will link my project page, and then I will also link the project page that I'm referencing on how to do this. This project took me a minute to feel like I was in the flow, but now I'm like really grooving with it. And I also think there's something about knitting fingering weight on US 4 needles that is just like, that is my favorite thing to knit. My favorite combo. That is my desert island. If I could only knit on one thing, it would be a fingering weight yarn on a US 4 needle. It's like my favorite. I'm obsessed with Chelsea Yarns' yarn, so there's more of that. More of that to come later, because I shopped her booth at Maryland Sheep and Wool. My very last whip is, where is it? It's over here. My last podcast, I showed let me get the book. On my last podcast episode, I showed my Moosh and Friends progress. This is a book by Cinthia Vallet. I was like, I know her name's Cinthia. So I have knit Hazel the squirrel. Oh my gosh, so cute. And now I am working on, let me find him. Billie the Raccoon. So cute. And these are gifts for a friend of mine who had twins earlier this year. I'm like very behind on baby gifts. But it's okay. It's not like they're gonna play with them now anyways. So this is where Billie's at right now. He just has a head. And oh my gosh, it's like so tiny. So it looks kind of crazy because you use like scrap yarn to mark where you put the eyes, and then you like embroider a little nose on afterwards, and then this scrap yarn is to mark off where the ears are gonna go. So yeah, it looks kind of crazy, but this will become a raccoon soon. I think it's gonna be really cute. This one is knit on a US 1.5, which is nice compared to Hazel the squirrel, which I knit on a US 0. And I was like, these are tiny. So the US 1.5 feels much nicer, and I'm using a sport weight yarn, which the pattern calls for all sport weight yarn, but I used fingering weight for the white and the black because it's all just little minis and scraps from my stash. So the white and the black are Santa's Garn fingering weight yarns that I had, and then this gray is Magpie Fibers sport weight. I do not know the colorway because I knit with this in a sweater over 2 years ago. So I don't know, but it's looking cute. There's his head. It took me a long time to cast this on because, as I might have said last time, these Motion Friends patterns, they are very easy to follow, but they're very intimidating because they are a like literal line by line pattern. So, you know, there's no like just knitting mindlessly. So yeah, after I finished Hazel, it took me a while to cast Billie on just because I was just procrastinating the idea of having to really focus. But it is nice. Each pattern is kind of has like a bunch of different like little sections, so you can kind of just do it in bits and pieces, and you don't have to like, you can keep track of where you are. It is an okay project to like start and stop on because you can just go section by section. It honestly doesn't take very long because there's so few stitches. So yeah, hopefully next time I record a podcast, Billie will be done, and then I can send the little creatures off to their new home. I kind of want to make them a little, not a full outfit, but like a little shirt or something too. Each Motion Friends has their own outfit included with their patterns, but I was thinking of just doing little striped t-shirts like what Billie has for both Hazel and Billie. I don't know, they're so cute. Like, I want to make all of these for myself and just like put them on my fireplace mantle, I think. Keep my emotional support chicken company. It's like a little knit farm. So that's the latest with my knitting. I would love to hear what you're working on. Are you gearing up for any summer projects specifically? To me, summer is like Rhinebeck sweater knitting season, even though it's like warm out and everything, and I don't know. But I'm like, I have been percolating on ideas for my Rhinebeck sweater already, but I haven't like really committed to anything yet. So I need to like start thinking and playing and start making some moves. My other big summer projects are processing all of the fleece that I have in my apartment still. I have 3 fleeces, all kind of in different stages. So I have one cabinet where they're all living, and my goal is to kind of clear out that cabinet as much as possible this summer. We'll see. I have my one fleece, or one of the fleeces that is pretty big. I've washed a good portion of it, even though it feels like I haven't made a dent. I've washed at least, I don't know, it's got to be at least 3 pounds of it. So maybe I've washed half of it. And I have all of the washed wool in bags waiting to be carded so then I can spin it. So recently I've been carding kind of like bit by bit, and then I'll spin, card, spin, card. So it's been kind of a fun process. I've got my Lindrum wheel, which is like on that corner if you can see it. It's all set up for long draw. So I've been doing long draw there, and then I've been doing my support spindle still. Anyway, I wasn't planning on talking about any spinning here. So I've been doing a lot of spinning, so I'll have a dedicated spinning update soon. I kind of talked a little bit about Maryland Sheep and Wool, but I wanted to give like a little recap of what we did. I went with my mom. She flew in from the Midwest, and we drove down together from New York to Frederick, which was like a 4-hour drive. Super easy drive outside of the New Jersey Turnpike, which is like the most insane road I've ever been on, I think. I don't know if anyone is familiar with the New Jersey Turnpike. It really scares me. And I'll drive in Manhattan, but it's something about the New Jersey Turnpike. Anyway, I'll love New Jersey though. I honestly, no qualms. I think it actually is a beautiful place. And I love The Sopranos. So, we drove down. That's where I was. I had bought tickets to Yarn Centric a few months ago, and we were very excited about Yarn Centric. Chelsea Yarns was there, Cake Wool, Ruby and Roses, Keira Wiggins, who else was there? Mabel. That's only like a hand. Black Pearl Magic. There were so many. So many that I can't remember. We were really excited. It was a great vendor list, and we got there, and let's see. I'll show my acquisitions kind of as I talk through. I bought from 2 vendors at Yarn Centric. First was Chelsea Yarns. I'm like, I need to cast this on ASAP. I bought a sweaters quantity, which, did I need to do that? No, but look at this yarn. I think it's so fun. This is her Chelsea Luxe, no, what is this? Chelsea Luxe Cozy DK. It's boucle, DK weight boucle, and I got her Chelsea's coupe color. So cute. And what I'm thinking is a cozy classic raglan with this. So I need to swatch, and I'm going to cast that on as soon as I finish one of my other projects. And maybe that can be my Rhinebeck sweater. So obsessed with that. And then my next acquisition, I was just like feeling all the colors. So at Wool & Folk this last year, I bought a bat from Keira Wiggins and loved it. And yeah, have been dying to like get more of her fiber. So this is what I left her booth with. I got this bat, which is gorgeous. It is superwash merino, which actually I've never spun superwash. Yeah, I don't think I have. So this will be fun, but it's got a lot of fun, I don't know, there's some, little colors in there. And then she had these cutie little bats called cupcakes that are just 20 grams each. And these are just like a whole variety of different fibers. Like this one is bamboo and merino, this one is Corriedale and Shetland and silk, and this one is merino and silk. So they're just so cute. And there's like sparkle. Honestly, I'm kind of loving sparkle and color. I'm like, that's what I need. So my idea, we'll see if this pans out, but I'll spin this as one ply and then kind of spin these 3 randomly mixed together sequentially. That doesn't make sense. In a random sequence, I'll take off like bit by bit and just grab at random to be the other ply. and then create a 2-ply with these. So 1 ply will be multicolored, 1 will be just a spat. And I haven't done that before, so I think that'll be like a fun, I don't know, color spinning experiment. So I'm very excited to dive into that. The one thing about the fleece processing is that I feel like I'm going to be spinning on that wool forever, so I don't know. I'm going to have to like take breaks to do some other smaller projects. So yeah, that was my yarn centric purchases. And after Yarn Centric, we stopped by the Magpie Fiber store in Frederick, which was super cute. I practiced a lot of self-restraint and didn't buy anything, but their store was really amazing and very cute. And actually all of downtown Frederick was really, really cute, and I loved it. You know, it was like one of those things where you're like, should I move here? It was really cute. And my mom and I had dinner downtown. That was really good. Got some crab cakes. Saturday is when we went to Maryland Sheep and Wool, and it rained pretty much on and off all day. So we had our umbrellas and our raincoats. The weather was a bit of a bummer, but I feel like we didn't let it, we didn't want it to like ruin the experience for us too much. I feel like we'll definitely go back to Maryland Sheep and Wool again. Maybe not. It might not be like an every year like Rhinebeck feels like, but it was really fun, and I want to go back and buy a fleece. So our first stop at Maryland Sheep and Wool was at the merch building. So that's where we got t-shirts, and then got little project bags that had the like this year's logo. I'm not sure what you call it. So that was cute. And then we went to the main exhibition hall, and I feel like that's where I kind of bought everything. We walked through all of the barns later in the afternoon, and I didn't really buy any farm yarn, or I don't know. I guess probably that by that time I was feeling a little like I definitely don't need to be shopping anymore, so I wasn't really like on the hunt for anything in the barns. But the main exhibition hall was a lot of fun, and we stopped at the Junction Fiber Mill booth to say hi, and I was also really excited about the Jill Draper Make Stuff booth, and I ended up getting some yarn. I feel like people say it's the samples, like the knit samples that sell yarn, and at the Jill Draper Make Stuff booth, there were these beautiful hand-woven shawls, and I was like, I need to weave some shawls. So I got these 2 skeins, and I have like 3 other colors of Pearl Soho yarn that I want to mix them with. So there's like an orange and like a maroon and a green, and I think it's going to make a really fun color palette. This is her Mohonk Light base, and so it's like a fingering weight lamb's wool, and her colors are just so beautiful, and I feel like her bases are really unique, and she really cares about keeping the her whole process like very local to her. So if I could have all of her yarn, I would take it all. If you watched my Rhinebeck haul, you may remember that I got a Nosta pen from a little booth there, and I couldn't remember the name. I didn't take any photos, and I came across their booth again at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I was so excited. It's called Woodchuck Products. They don't have a website or anything, so you have to go find them in person to buy something. So last time I got the Nosta pen, and I use it all the time. I love it. And this time I came away with some little weaving shuttles. And I got a third one that's kind of like an in-between size in these 3, but it's like it's attached to my loom behind me. So yeah, it's just canary wood, handmade. I think they're really beautiful. It just feels fun to collect these pretty little tools. His stuff is really, I feel like, reasonably priced. I think I bought 3 of these shuttles for maybe $30. I think it was less than that. So that was 2. And then along the weaving lines, Weaver House, which is a yarn store, but like most like weaving yarn store, and they do weaving workshops and classes and stuff. Their space is in Philadelphia. So I've never been to their store, but I've ordered from them online, and then they had a booth at Maryland Sheep and Wool, which was exciting to see. So I bought some rug wool, which I've never used before. I have a frame loom that I've had since, I don't know, I think I begged my mom to buy it for me like when I was in high school. And I don't know that I've even ever finished anything on it, but I have it with me still. She brought it for me, which was very nice. And it's like the Harrisville Designs frame loom. Pretty sure I bought it at Yarn Barn back in the day. And I had an idea the other day that I think it'd be fun to weave a little cat mat on it. It's like the perfect size to make like a little cat bed. So, and then that would be a fun way to kind of play with this yarn and test it out. So, we'll see. That's all the yarn and stuff that Bambi's paw. That's all the yarn that I bought. And then, as I previewed before, this project bag was my last acquisition, and it is from Madder Root, Maine. Yeah. And I just think it's so pretty. It has this like clasp thing. And so I think you're supposed to actually like, you roll it up and then you can clasp it together. And I've been eyeing this project bag specifically on their Instagram for, let's see if I can do this, for months at least. So when I saw it there, how do I do this? There we go. So I'm gonna roll it up and keep it like that. So when I saw it in their booth, I had a treat myself moment, and I was like, I've been wanting this for a long time, and I'm gonna buy it. So yeah, that makes me happy. It's like a waxed canvas bottom, and then this is like beautiful woven fabric, and then I think this inside is like hand printed, painted, I'm not sure exactly, but it's cute. That's the latest. That's the latest with me. My big goal for the summer is to process at least one like full fleece, like please. And then natural dyeing is kind of like in the back of my brain. I just have this idea of like wanting to try dyeing some handspun like fleece, handspun from fleece skeins. So that's, it's like a little birdie in my ear being like, maybe buy a dye kit, but I haven't yet. And then I'm so excited about weaving right now. I am almost done with that warp on my loom right now. It's a linen warp. I've been weaving more overshot, which I love. I have more ideas for some like more functional hand woven pieces, so I want to do some more hand towels. I've been using the ones that I've woven previously, and I'm obsessed with them. Like, it's so, how many times have I said obsessed in this podcast? But they're so, they just feel so nice. And now I'm like, everyone needs hand woven hand towels. It depends on how much I make in terms of these functional wovens. I probably won't need 100 hand woven hand towels. So I do have my shop link. My shop's closed right now, but there is a possibility that I might pop a woven for sale on my site at some point over the summer. We'll see. I feel like it'll be more of like a surprise thing. If that happens, I'm sure I'll post about it on Instagram if you want to follow me there. And if you're interested in obtaining any hand wovens. I'm working with a friend to design a site for me. If you don't know, I'm a web developer by day, so I build a lot of Shopify sites specifically, and so I've been working with my designer friend, and then I'm going to probably build that new version of my site. Hopefully I'll have it done by the end of the summer. We'll see. It's like, that's a whole undertaking in and of itself. When I get that new site up, I am hoping to launch a blog portion with that so that I can write blog posts and create a different sort of digital archive space that's not just my Instagram. So that'll be fun. And then I'm also thinking about an email newsletter. Let me know if you'd be interested in like a monthly newsletter thing. Again, I'm thinking more nitty-gritty updates than what I show on my Instagram. Kind of like I can write more notes and share inspirations and just generally kind of what is happening in a different way. It's all just content. Every time I say content, I think of the Bo Burnham.
But look, I made you some content.
And if you want to sign up for the newsletter, there is already a sign up form on my website, madisonmonteze.com, and that just adds you to the newsletter list. Again, I don't think it would be anything more than a monthly update. I hope you sign up. I think it'll be fun. And that is it for today. I was trying not to talk about spinning or weaving to not have this be 5 hours long, but I want to give an update on spinning and weaving, so I'm going to hopefully have some sort of like spinning specific or weaving specific video update soon. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you next time.
As we get to know each other, we see each other at shows, it does become one big family.